Atlantic Television Press Roundtable here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. ATM Press Roundtable comes to you live every day, working day, Monday to Friday, 7 to 8. Whereas today's public holiday? Well, we're celebrating our independence anniversary, and it fell on a Sunday, and today is public holiday because it's the first working day hereafter the celebration. Well, I'm sure you are there, and you are there with us. You're watching us live on our various social media platforms, and as well as on your screen, StarTimes 194. Roundtable is a program for journalists who gather here every day, 7 to 8, to give insight and perspectives to various trending news items during the day, especially in the last 24 hours. Well, before we continue, before we hit the road running, we will look at some of the trending news headlines. Tribunal affirms Governor Fubara's election victory. In Delta State, tanker explosion claims 20 lives in Delta. From West African Examination Council, WAEC appoints Nigeria new head of national office. Plateau State, mining collapses, 33 persons killed. And from Zamfara State, an LLC tackles federal government over state workers receiving stipend. TC NEC agrees to meet with federal government. And finally, from Nasarawa State, Tribunal declares PDP's Omboguda winner of Goba polls. Look at this and more. Don't go away when we come back from our break. Stay tuned. Well, this cheering news from Rivers State. Our Rivers State governorship election petition has thrown out the petition filed by candidate of the Labour Party, Beatrice Tubo, challenging the declaration of the People's Democratic Party, Siminaye Fubara, as the winner of the 2023 governorship election in the state. Hearing is ongoing at the tribunal. Of course, it's already decided. All Progressive Congress, Toyeko, Itubo, went to court to declare the winner of the polls, Fubara, as ineligible for the election. The tribunal has declared him winner in all ramifications. That's the full detail of that story, yes. This was the initial outcome of the story. Let's look at the story. Initially, what came out, this news that broke out was that Itubo's story was, petition was thrown out. Yes. But now the full, and it was ongoing, now the full detail of the story is out. Fubara declared winner by the tribunal. So what's your take on that?
Yes, I'm looking at what election is all about. I think the people's endorsement to the election of their leaders is what is known everywhere as legitimacy.
Okay, legitimacy.
That is legitimacy. And if the people's endorsement over the stream of argument.
Okay.
And if you look at the stream of argument that has been rumbling in the state, nobody expects that the court will come out with such verdict.
Okay.
Because everybody was thinking it should be another party's ticket.
Okay.
But here, the people's mandate has prevailed.
Yeah.
And Rivers people at this time need to rejoice.
Yeah, I listened to a press statement by former deputy governor.
Yeah.
Now this a senator representing Rivers West, talking about the Palibo Banigo, Ari Banigo. In that press statement, he was calling on the other opposition party to put hands together to actually govern the state.
Yes.
Because after election, what should come is governance. Because the people who are going to govern are the people. And we are wondering if the election was declared inconclusive, we would have started wasting another time conducting another election. Yeah. Even though those who lost have every legitimate right to appeal, you know, and had every right ab initio to go to court to contest the outcomes. At the end of the day, we should get to a point where leaders should begin to accept outcomes as in the spirit of sportsmanship. Don't you think so?
Yes. Actually, it is almost now part of the system and part of political association now. If you look at back in those days, in the 90s, you know, the election and 2003, 1999, 2003, elections and this post-elections and pre-election period were very violent. Exactly. And some people felt that that will continue. But good enough, at this time of our development process, people are beginning to realize that it's not only taking up violence. Yeah. It all is all about you making a case for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Well, yeah. You've been listening to George Papamia Kingsley, yes, a broadcast journalist. He's here in the studio. He's a veteran in all ramifications. Yes. You're welcome to the program once again. I just wanted the story to welcome you, and yes, you're indeed welcome. Yes, well, I think that it is not really over until it's over when it comes to electoral petitions. Yes. At the tribunal, it will go to the appeal, and sometimes it goes to the Supreme Court. And marries, and he won, but that process is no longer cited in law. It has been entirely wiped out. Because you must contest for an election before you can be declared governor. So that's the new rule. But the long and short of what I'm saying is that this is court of first instance. This tribunal is court of first instance. Let us hope that we will have something that will not lead to any kind of confusion and, will I say, intractable litigation in the process. In some states, that elections were declared inconclusive means that they will go and start afresh. Or not afresh, they have to take care of some areas that were not conclusive. Because you cannot say the entire election was inconclusive. Now we're cancelling the election.
Even the tension in Kano.
Tension is Kano, yes.
The tension in Kano at the time, you know, even led the police to advise the governor to impose COVID. Exactly. And after some time, the governor was able to speak to the people, and they came to the realization that it's all about election.
And it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
I saw some of them calling on President Tinubu not to interfere.
Yes.
While in some other cases, was in Nasarawa State.
Yes, Nasarawa State.
They were commending Tinubu for not interfering. Yes. Allowing the election to go the way it should. The petition should go the way they ought to go. That was PDP. Now APC this other way because Tinubu is of PDP in Kano State seem to be saying don't interfere and all that. Tinubu, the president himself is embattled. He's embattled, so you don't have time for any kind of interference. Let the political actors behave like sportsmen.
Of course.
There should be spirit. Nigerians are very bad losers. I don't know why. We're very bad losers. Now let's get to the next story. It's a very sad one coming from Delta State. The third tanker explosion, which happened in Kokowari, North Local Government Area of River State, of Delta State, has claimed 20 lives. The incident happened when residents of the area rushed to the scene to scoop fuel from the burning vehicle. Unofficial sources put the death toll at 20, with several others affected with severe degrees of burnt. But the State Police Command spokesman, Bright Edafe, said the fire claimed 5 lives amongst the youths who had come to scoop spilled fuel. Edafe said the fire affected several properties, including the fueling tanker, 8 buses of different makes, 2 tankers, 5 trailers, 2 motorcycles, 1 Sienna Space, and all that. C-class Mercedes-Benz and all that. A lot. This kind of loss, it happens virtually every time. I don't know the level of greed. Is it greed or is it foolishness or is it foolhardiness? What is really the reason behind people seeing a burning tanker and then rushing to go and scoop fuel?
Yes, if you look at our society, the poverty level in the society is very high. People are no more looking at risk any longer. Otherwise, this is a risk factor. If you look at the entire system, it's a risk factor. How would one see fire? You are seeing fire and you know that fire will not have mercy on you. You are aware. Even the heat.
A highly inflammable substance.
And then you are going close to it to school fuel. You risk your life. You risk your life for what you want to get. And then you forgot that same fire could extend to where you are. And such incidences has been happening as a reoccurrence. And people are hearing it. Even if tomorrow, I see Nigerians as people that do not care for their lives when it comes to what they want to get to survive. You understand? When it gets to something they want to get to survive, they no longer look at the risk any longer. What they know is that this is an opportunity. Let me die with it. The thinking, the orientation of Nigerians to have a change. Because this is what we are saying, that if Nigerians have a value system that is established, people will not risk their life. Of course, but if you look at on the other way around, we need to advise, the road safety need to partner with this trailer drivers association to give them regular training and orientation on how to drive on our highways. We know that the roads are very bad. As I'm considering the rainfall terrain, this is the consistent rainfall. Yes, and the terrain that they find themselves. But when they get to such pothole areas, they should take time to drive to such areas in a manner that it will not affect the tanker to run. All right? But some of them, when they get to such places, they still think on how to speed on such places. And that's why they get the accidents.
I think there are a lot of things are involved when it comes to tanker drivers. Sometimes they drink, they smoke.
Yes.
They take all manner of things. They
drugs.
Take drugs because they run long distance.
Yes.
And that is one thing that road safety must check. You test a tanker driver for drug, they have standard means of checking all this. I think that our road safety course should be more active. Because what I'm seeing cannot be described as road safety. Some on this NTA road,
yes.
I met some of them, and they are worse than the type kind of policemen we used to say extort money. Yes. Their conduct called for a lot of inquiry. Will I say the level of misconduct is very glaring, and I don't think it's the road safety that we saw as an elite corps before now. Some people say, well, maybe because they were at a point, merged with the police and later came out. So they learned. You were talking about values. Nigerians have values, but they have done positive values and then have embraced negative values.
Yes.
That is the problem we have. And we don't really know what we want. And some talk about vision for Nigeria. What is the vision for Nigeria? We don't have any vision. So when an accident like this happens, what one expected was for those involved in that accident to call the security operatives to guard the tanker, right? For example, a falling tanker is very highly flammable. It's a risk factor, like you said. Would it have been possible in a decent environment if the driver had called the road safety to come to their rescue. Because if the rescue had been there, these greedy young men wouldn't have run to school. But Nigeria, like you said, is it because of hunger? What is it?
Want to fulfill their
Is it also ignorance?
Of course. Ignorance could set in. Because they are only looking at how to satisfy their immediate problem, immediate needs. And they feel that this is an opportunity, let's die with it. It's not the process. It's not the process.
It's a suicide mission.
It's just a suicide mission. It's not the process. If it's a process, many people would have passed through it, and then they don't mind. But this is a suicide mission that they are putting themselves into. I think this is the National Orientation Agency, the road safety, and even the police should please make the public orientation about this enlightenment program.
Well, I think that
they should enlighten the public both on the radio and the TV stations, telling them wherever there is spill, they should get off.
Exactly.
They should not near it, and that if the police happens to hear about such people and get such people, they are going to be arrested. I think that will scare some of them.
There should be some safety consciousness.
Yes, of course.
Well, we hear that just the confirmed figure is 5, not 20. But the number of persons were injured as a real story. Okay, let's look at the next news item there. The West African Examination Council has appointed Dr. Amos Dagut as its new head of the national office. The appointment is contained in the statement by Mrs. Moyosola Adeshina, acting head of public affairs, WAEC, issued to newsmen on Monday. Until his appointment as council's head was the deputy registrar of office of IHNO. His appointment came on the heels of the expiration of the tenure of council's immediate past head of national office, Mr. Patrick Aragon, immediately resumed office October. Well, what is the big deal about this story? It's about the fact that we need proper corporate governance.
Yes.
And WAEC has been encumbered, as it were, with a lot of shoddy performance.
Yes.
Many people have talked about the need for WAEC to up the ante and improve their performance in the conduct of election, use of election results quick, the need to stop am I saying election? Examination malpractice. Yes. It's a very common thing in WAEC. Yes. There are still exam, what will I call them?
Ethics.
Exam manufacturing centers.
Yes.
Where people go there and manufacture results.
Yes.
We see our centers. There's a name, Nigerians have a common name for it, where you don't need to read the exam. Any mechanic, any shoemaker can wake up, go to such a center, register, and at the end of the day, results are released. And results that people cannot defend. It is part of the reasons why we have issues in the university, where so many people enter the university and they cannot pass. And when they pass, they come out half-baked because the formation years were not properly taken care of. And that is, so the new helmsman must be serious about such issues.
I think appointing somebody that has been consistent is a progress. It's a progress made ready for success. It's a progress made ready for success. Otherwise, bringing somebody that is external will always use his external influence. But this person that is appointed, I think, is somebody that will work by the ethics.
Yes, I know.
The ethics of the office.
Yes.
And by the ethics of what the WAEC exam stands for. And there's every pretension that he is going to lay a solid foundation for the WAEC office. And that is to say, from his records, we will be able to identify that he's a well-trained civil servant.
Yes.
Because we will work to give a good name to the government.
Yes, what we are looking at here is the issue of expectation. What are we expecting?
Yes, we are expecting education, good education standard, and also
to secure the integrity of the examination and the certificate.
Yes.
So that wherever it is presented, people will know that it is a certificate
exactly.
that was earned because the process was okay.
It was okay.
Because that is the issue. If the process is not right, then the integrity of the examination will be compromised. I think that is what our expectation should be, because in most cases, we've had this examination result manufacturing centers. I think that's the appropriate word. Examination result manufacturing centers where results are manufactured. There was a funny case of a man who passed exam from one of the manufacturing centers in River State those days. He was a gate man, and he wanted to be promoted to a clerk. So he went to one of the WAEC exam manufacturing centers, result manufacturing centers, manufactured a WAEC result with so many good results, and attended an interview. And when he was asked to spell economics, which he had A1, he could not spell economics.
Yes.
He started with EKO. Asked me whether economics is spelled EKO.
Embarrassment.
That was because he did not earn it. So the integrity of the exam must, especially in Nigeria now, where certificates are creating issues, creating problems everywhere.
Everywhere.
Nigeria is so much certificate hungry. Well, because now you need a minimum of a WAEC result, WASC, to contest your election. Everybody's scrambling to have a WAEC certificate.
Of course.
So WAEC right now should up its ante and ensure that people earn whatever certificate they have. And that is the only way they can protect the integrity of the exam.
Yes.
So it's not just enough to appoint men. And in Nigeria at this time, of course, West African Examination Council is an exam for the West African countries.
Yeah.
So you have Ghana, you have Gambia,
yes.
you have Nigeria. You know, these are the English-speaking West African countries, the Anglophones. Yes, the Anglophones countries in West Africa. And it's part of the so-called national continental integration.
Yeah.
Where you have a common exam. People are talking about currency now. People are talking about continental highway.
Yes.
People are talking about free visa and all that, you know. These are things that will make us a continent that is properly integrated. Just as you have in Europe, you have the European Union.
Yes.
And the European Union has a common currency, and they have economic cooperation and collaboration, and a lot. I think that WAEC is one institution that represents such regional integration.
Yes.
And it should be properly run. The integrity of the exam should be given the right direction so that people can now begin to look as when you present a West African Examination Council certificate, it becomes authentic. We have ECOWAS passport now.
Yes, we are. So,
but we still need to have a passport, a visa-free movement across the region and across the continent. So some of these regional institutions are supposed to be encouraged and strengthened. The celebration here as a Nigerian is appointed.
Yes.
So as being a Nigerian, we should not bring what they call Nigerian factor into the institution.
Yes. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That should be West African factor.
Now what is West African factor this time?
The West African factor is that you must think of ensuring that the West African countries are well represented.
Okay.
They are well represented.
And there's integrity in the
office,
in the exam and all that.
Yes.
Because Nigerians do well. Tinubu is the ECOWAS president, and much is expected from him.
Yes.
And so many Nigerians have represented multilateral and organizations, bilateral organizations. We are the trade union, World Trade Organization, WTO. Tinubu is the president, head of ECOWAS and all that.
Yes.
The quality of representation will have a lot to do with the integrity of Nigeria, the reputation of Nigeria as the largest black nation. 1 out of every black man is a Nigerian. So are we living that reputation? Wherever we find ourselves, we should live that reputation and ensure that we do not disgrace the continent. But that's the much we can take for this half hour. In the second half hour, we'll come to you strongly with other stories. Don't get away. welcome back. George Papa Bia is still here. My name is Bon Woke, of course, you know that. Let's look at the next story. NLC, TUC, Labour. Well, this story now is coming from Zamfara State, Nigerian chairperson of Nigerian Labour Congress, Zamfara State Council, Comrade Sani Aliru, has said that state workers receive stipends as remuneration and not wages, going by the dictate of the prevailing economic circumstances, called stipends. Comrade Sani Aliru disclosed this on Monday in Gusau while revealing Zamfara NLC's position on the state negotiation between federal government, and Labour. Nigerian Labour Congress, Zamfara State Council, noted with passion the effort made by our national leadership and quote, the Nigerian Labour Congress, Zamfara State Council noted with passion the effort of leadership and let me quote him. There was need to note in a strong term that states are the organs which support and as well are pillars which hold the center. We in the states are at the mercy of the state governors who hold power with impunity and disregard constitutional provisions. All this has to do with the ongoing NLC level impasse, as it were, crisis. Well, what the Zamfara NLC there has just said is that what you call salary is not salary but stipends. What's the difference?
Yes, I think he's not making a mistake. He's not making a mistake. He's not making a mistake when you are talking about a take-home salary. The man working in Shell, the man working in Egypt, the man working in every of the oil companies, and the civil servants themselves all go to the same market. And you can imagine where a civil servant that his salary is less than 30,000, less than 40,000, less than 50,000. How can he survive with a family of 5, with a family of 6, with a family of 8? That is just a challenge. So if the people of Zamfara State, looking at the kind of place they are and the terrain, what do the state manufacture? What do the state produce to help the economy of the state? It's not there. That is why this current government of President Tinubu should be able to address these issues of economic potentialities. And that will cushion state hardships. Because in the various states, the salaries are not the same. That's one. And the economic potentials are not the same. Like a river state, we are saying that we have farms. That's there. We are saying that we have a fishermen. That is there. We are saying that there is oil in the state. There is a refinery in the state.
Those in the urban centers are not talking about that. You see, what is going on here? Sorry, I'm cutting you short.
Yes.
You're talking about potentialities. You're talking about potentialities for government to, harness
this system.
Harness revenue.
Yes. Harness productivity.
Revenue potentials. But when you talk about potentials on the part of the civil servant,
yes,
on the part of the citizenry, those in the urban areas don't have such access to farming and to fishing. And they are much more hard hit. That's why urban poverty is the worst kind of poverty.
Yes.
Those in the rural areas go to farm, not even pay, some rural areas don't even pay transport.
Yes.
They walk to their farms, walk to their fishing port, and come back. Urban poverty is a major issue that is affecting Nigerians most.
Yes.
Because the increase in fuel price is a big problem. The high cost of food is a big problem because the urban poor do not have access to any farm to go and harvest anything. You don't have any access to any river to go and fish. He pays transport. Any day he cannot pay transport. Somebody was writing today and was saying, you know what being a man is.
Yes.
When, before the end of the month, your TV, Go TV or whatever,
yes,
subscription is over. Your NEPA bill, you can no longer have light. Your gas finishes. You don't have kerosene to cook. Even worse, you wake up, you don't have money for transport to go to work. That is when you know what being a man is.
Yes.
And then the children are driven back from home and from school,
no school
and no school fees for them to pay. And they are there looking at you and you are looking at them. That is the spirit of what that Zamfara NLC officer was trying to say.
Yes, but
when he said that what we have is not salary but stipend.
Yes.
That is because our take-home pay or the take-home pay of the average worker in Nigeria cannot take him home and cannot bring anything to the table.
Yes.
So when you talk about potentiality, unequal potentiality between state and states, it does not really arise when you have urban poor.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is that we're talking about subsidizing. Subsidizing in the sense that if the state have farms, let's take for instance, the state has its own farms.
How will that impact on the average civil servant, clerk, or messenger in an office?
Yes, the way it will impact that we're talking about.
They're going to government fund to
the little money can afford to buy.
Okay, what you are saying is that if there's high productivity, if there's agricultural productivity, then there will be plenty food to pay for. And the price of food will drop.
Reduce.
But the problem is that in the case of Nigeria today, insecurity has driven a lot of people out of the farms.
Of course.
And so food productivity is low. In some parts of this country, they pay money to militants, to bandits, especially in Northwest and Northeast, to go to farm. In this part of the country, the most southeast, militants, cultists, unknown gunmen, unknown men, kidnappers have taken hold of the farms, so people cannot go to farm. So what is the remedy? What will be the rescue of civil servants? They have nothing to do.
Yes, I think recently, I don't know where it's Zamfara State, they recruited guards. With the recruited guards. That's another step. But what we are saying is that they should be able to make these farms, these setting up industries, setting up industries, and engaging the youths. So that what we are saying, what we are particularly saying about people talking about low stipends that could not afford the homes.
And now government is talking about palliatives.
Yes.
And when you know the meaning of palliative, it's a stopgap measure.
Yes, it's a stopgap measure.
It's not a solution.
No, it's not a solution.
You have short-term, middle-term, and long-term plans. Palliatives, it cannot even be described as the short-term.
No.
It's a preliminary
system,
a preliminary approach towards a short-term measure. Government in Rivers State, for example, I hear the palliatives are being shared, and that the balance will be given to the disabled, will be given to Ministry of Social Welfare to give out to disabled, underprivileged homes and all that. That is even not what Nigerians are looking forward to. NLC is going on strike.
Yes.
TUC wants to go on strike. Based on, you saw the announcement of the president during his broadcast. Many people thought that the salary award, because no salary increase, because for 6 months.
The salary award?
Between 25 and now it's 35,000
yes.
to civil servants for 6 months. That is a kind of palliative. Labour doesn't seem to be satisfied and they are meeting. Let's see where that takes them. Because even if they are going to be salary increase, the Salaries and Wages Commission will not be legally empowered to do such anything now until next year.
You look, because they're still watching the economy.
No, but the law does not allow them for now. Yeah, go ahead.
So what we are saying that is that the government should be able to think of setting up industries and making sure that people are employed. That is one. Two, the palliatives that we're talking about should not just be temporary. It should be made a consistent process so that it can be able to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Because mainly they say that we have done for this month, and then next month they relax. Of course, they're inviting more trouble.
Yeah.
They're inviting more trouble. So it should be a consistent thing until the economy gets to a peak where it can address it. It's in government, federal government can actually handle the situation. Okay, just like you're saying, as we are approaching 2024 now, if government can roll with the system until December and then January, if they have other visions and other things to set in place that will start making the economy have a new look, I think it will help the economy and it will help citizens. But for the Zamfara state people who are saying that this is stipend, I think they are not making a mistake. They are not making a mistake at all. Because right now, if you go to the market to say, even a bottle of kerosene now is about 800. A bottle of kerosene is about 1,000 naira. So check if a man that has 10 children, 8 children, 5 children in the house and buys a bottle of kerosene for 1,000 naira, let's say it should be for 1,000 naira, and can cook, if he's cooking a pot of beans and a pot of rice, just for 1 or 2 days, then that means look at how many days in the week, then look at how many days in the month. How much will it, how many bottles of kerosene will he buy? Or if he's using a cooking gas, how many weeks will the cooking gas last? So these are the things that the NLC is actually checking to tell government that you need to subsidize and you need to make awards and to see how you will give enough palliatives that will cushion the effects. Because the system at this time is too difficult for the poor to handle. And therefore, I'm not even blaming people who are putting their lives at risk. But what we're saying is that government should wake up to their responsibilities and ensure that they work throughout the night. Because this is not the time to sleep. This is the time to work. Okay. Because at the time of challenges, at the time of such problems, are the time that government actually shows the people that they are serious with leadership and then put in more and more solutions that can address disturbances and other strike measures.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's look at the next story. Nigerians are taking a lot of risk and the environment doesn't seem to be friendly. Mining site has collapsed in Plateau State, resulting to the death of 33 persons in some communities of the state within the past 2 months. Barkin Ladi, Secretary of the Plateau Indigenous Miners Association, disclosed this in an interview with reporters during an event organized for artisan miners and farmers which held in the council area. Also described frequent collapse of mining sites in Barkin Ladi communities as worrisome, noting that the situation was posing a danger to the lives of the people, particularly youths in the council area. He appealed to the government to intervene in the situation while calling for more sensitization of the people to curb the ugly trend. That trend is ugly. You know one thing about this mining thing? The Minister of Mines and Power, recently talked about setting up a mining corporation.
Yes.
You know, when people talk about civil service is very slow because of red tapeism, bureaucracy, and all the related
processes,
lackluster processes. And because of that, government realizes that there are certain operations, aspects of government operations that require some professional, technical, and otherwise expertise, as it were.
Expertise.
Such expertise cannot be compromised with civil service bureaucracy. So public corporations are set up to manage such institutions. That's why I have radio houses. Those who work in radio stations are public servants and not pure civil servants. And they set up some of these institutions because government is not a good businessman. And government has issues with bureaucracy, and bureaucracy can slow down progress when it comes to, technically driven services. And so government has said, we will set up a mining corporation. We expect that these issues of collapse, the issue of people dying, the issue of illegal mining will be handled by this mining corporation. Because an unfortunate situation. What they're talking about here in Plateau State is something that can be resolved by that institution called the Mining Corporation.
Yes.
The Ministry of Mines is going to set up. Look at life, people dying. We're talking about greed, talking about get rich quick. People go to illegal mining. There were mining site they said was bringing out toxic fumes and air. People were dying in some places. This is a case of collapse. In Zamfara and some other places where gold is mined, a lot of illegal and illegitimate issues are happening, and people are at risk just because they want money. Right.
Yes, if you look at the pictures, you will see that the people are not even they are not even having the kit.
Safety.
They are not having safety kit to show that actually they are exposed to risk. They are not aware. There's no awareness there, and that means to say, even if an emergency situation happens, there's no safety gadgets and all the rest. So they are totally, that's why they are affected. And as I said, the Zamfara state government, I think recently, we are accusing, they were accusing some expatriates who had come in.
Chinese people.
Yes, who had come in to sponsor some persons into this mining system. And those miners are even, some of them going into this creating insecurity. Because at that time, they're at a place where they want to go and undertake the mining processes. They want them to influence the area to see how they can, chase away people that will come to take them away, and then take the advantage to go on with the mining. But in this case, I think if 33 people are dead, I think they are not different from those people that we saw in the Delta State that we are taken up by the explosion, fire explosion. And that means to tell us that, yes, that actually the poverty level in Nigeria is increasing. And the Nigerian government, even from all the states, as I said earlier, they need to actually wake up, because the leadership of the Nigerian government is still sleeping.
Yeah, let's take this last.
They should wake up see how they can address poverty in the system.
Let's take this last. Trade Union Congress has concluded its National Executive Council meeting following deliberations on the new wage award for civil servants in the country by President Bola Tinubu to cushion the effects of subsidy removal on premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol. The Labour Center is expected to meet with representatives of the government on whether the offer by the government was acceptable by the members. National Deputy President of TUC, Tommy Etim, made this known in an interview with newsmen in Abuja on Monday when asked. Etim, who doubles as the National President of the Association of Senior Civil Servants, noted that the Labour leaders met earlier and received recommendations from members of NEC and would go ahead to meet with the representatives of the government later. He said, "We just concluded our meeting a few hours ago and we received some recommendations from our members which we will convey to the government later today." According to Bajabia Miller, as the Chief of Staff, the federal government had agreed to come up measures that will address the dispute arising from the removal of the fuel subsidy. Addressing journalists after the meeting, the NLC president promised to meet with members of the union to consider the offers of the federal government to suspend the strike. Suspending the strike is a big story now. And do you trust Labour?
I think, yes, to some extent, I trust Labour, to some extent.
Yeah.
Because I think the leadership of Joe Ajero has a very good focus.
Yeah.
They have a very good focus. The focus is that they are not pushing the government to the wall because they understand the system.
Okay.
But
do you think they are going to come up with any serious agreement with government now that government is dangling the carrot?
Yes, of course.
The carrot is enough to pacify them?
Yes, it's good. It's good for. I think there's a proverb which says that a bird in hand is what.
Okay.
Is more than what
something in the 35,000 naira.
Yes, 35,000 naira is something that you have already held.
And it's an award.
It's an award. It's in your hand.
And
you can go to anywhere with it.
They have talked about Port Harcourt refinery.
Yes, that is coming up by December.
Coming up by December.
Yes.
I think they're taking this.
They are pushing. They push them a little.
Mm-hmm.
They come back to address it.
Okay.
They push them a little. I think it's a very good approach, and they are focused. If they have just pushed them,
and you think Labour will be satisfied?
They, of course, no, of course, at the time, Labour should be looking at 2024.
Okay.
They should be looking at from 2024. They should be looking at federal government thinking of how to increase the wage. But for now, it's not possible.
But do you see wage increase as the ultimate?
No. Wage increase.
Because that may worsen the inflation.
Yeah, the inflation, that's wage increase should be done. That is there. But what the government should do right now.
How many percentage of Nigerians are workers?
How many? No. What
are in the organized?
Yes, is what I'm saying. That if
the majority of Nigerians are not working.
Yes, majority of that's what I'm saying now. That if government can, come up with a system of industrializing the country.
So what?
Nigeria needs industrialization.
So what government is doing now is to pacify Labour. What about pacifying the rest of
that's what I'm saying. Job is if the various states
job creation
and government think of industrializing this country.
The core thing is
it will create employment opportunities.
The core thing is the price of fuel. I think that's the much we can take on today's program.
Yes.
Where we expect that Labour should be able to have the right necessary parley with government, because to judge is better than to war.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Nigerians will lose more. Nigerians who are already at the losing end, who are suffering, will suffer more if the entire Labour workforce is closed down. If there's a lockdown on Nigerian economy today, the entire country will suffer. So it's incumbent on Labour to actually accept what government is doing for now and continue negotiation. That's the much we can take on today's program. I'm sure you're watching us live on our social media platforms and watching us on StarTimes 194. Of course, don't forget that come to you live every day, Monday to Friday, 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. daily. And that's the way we roll on Press Roundtable. Program for social media, for media professionals. Well, George Papami has been here. Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, sir, thank you.
George is a veteran, and he doesn't disappoint at all. Thank you for coming. Well, don't forget, Global News Bulletin comes up at 9 p.m. Peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Make peace your watchword. Like I always say, peace is not the absence of war. Whatever you do, ensure that you are part of the building block of peace. Your utterances, your actions should be building block of peace. Because peace